Hello folks and welcome to Formula One Paddock Pass, your pre-race edition for the 2018 Brazilian Grand Prix. Rain already falling here in Sao Paulo. I've only been here for a few hours, landed this morning, and the weather doesn't look great, which is great news for us because we always like a Brazilian Grand Prix with inclement weather, something extra to throw into the mix of one of the drivers' favourite tracks of the year and one of the tracks that give us just this incredible atmosphere from the fans. So much history here, so much passion, of course, and always, well, pretty much always, a really exciting race. Now, we arrive here in Brazil with a newly crowned five-time Formula One world champion, Lewis Hamilton, having matched what Juan Manuel Fangio and, of course, Michael Schumacher achieved before him. He spoke to the press today, admitting it still hasn't quite sunk in all that he's achieved and all that he's done. Some really nice insights, I think, here from the newly crowned five-time Formula One world champion.
Well, I think in 2008 I was still really a kid. I was still maturing. Naturally had all the talent that I needed, but not really had the stability, the core strength, mentally and physically to take all the different blows from all the different angles and handle them and still stay balanced. That's where, you know, with age and experience, I'm able to do that now. There's not really anything that you can particularly throw at me that I can't handle. So I still have that ability that I had as a kid, but now I have that I think the mentality side of things, particularly the stability and that more centered approach, that or the centeredness I have is what allows me to drive and handle myself and steer myself through the year the way I do.
Do you think you've reached your peak yet? Is there another level that you can hit? And if so, what's your motivation? Is it to beat the existing records, or is it just to continually improve who you are as a racer?
Yeah, no, I don't have... records have never been something that's been a driver for me. It's been more... I think to this point in my life, this is the highest point of my career in terms of my own performance, how I perform with the team. But I do believe there's always areas that we can improve. So we'll definitely look at the season at the end of this year, and there'll always be areas. If you look at, we didn't win every single race. There were some mishaps, particularly at the beginning of the year. So there's always room to improve. So I expect to do that, and that's my expectation of myself. I've got to work this winter. There'll be a slightly amended approach. Of course, you've got to dig deep. You've got these young kids that are coming in. You've got Leclerc going to Ferrari, who's hungry to prove a point. You've got Max, who's still hungry to prove a point. And so I've got to make sure that I'm still there.
So the man that won the title in a season when, again, most expected these guys to actually take the crown. I think that's 2 seasons on the bounce now. We can say with some certainty that Ferrari certainly started the year with the better car, but Mercedes, either through a Ferrari misstep or through Mercedes' positive steps, managed to outthink, maybe outdevelop them. Ferrari admitted that earlier in the year they took a bit of a wrong direction with their car development, which they finally got back on top of, but they got back on top of it too late. Factor in then also mistakes, maybe a little bit of pressure coming into play as well down here at Ferrari, and what it amounts to is another win for Lewis Hamilton. But the championship for constructors is not yet decided, but can be this weekend. And that now is Ferrari's real focus, to try to salvage something from this season. For Sebastian Vettel, certainly, as he looks to 2019 with the team, to just try and recoup some grace, some heart, something decent to show for this 2018 season.
I think we have 2 more races to go, and I'm looking forward to those 2 races. I don't think now is the time, or during the season is the time to draw a conclusion. So, yeah, I think it just feels like it would be the wrong time to do so. I think the last races for us were a bit better in terms of pace, so hopefully we can continue like that and maybe have the chance to win. I think it's always nice if you have the chance to win. So. Yeah, we focus on that. I think we focus on the constructors now and yeah, try to outscore Mercedes by as much as we can.
It's been a difficult season for Red Bull Racing, of course. Their relationship with Renault coming to an end at the conclusion of this year, and not before time. It's not been good for some time. But they were quick to praise their engine supplier after the Mexican Grand Prix on a weekend where really that power unit paid dividends for them and gave them the advantage over both Mercedes and Ferrari. Max Verstappen taking the win on a day when Daniel Ricciardo was again let down. Heartache for him, but we're going to talk to the race winner last time out, Max Verstappen. Just 2 races left. Can they possibly hope to repeat that kind of glory in either Brazil or in Abu Dhabi? Explain to us the difference for you between a battling drive through the field and what you've been able to do in your last couple of wins, which is to master the field from the front.
The difference is that I'm happier when I'm winning. Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
Is there any less joy to be drawn from simply leading and sort of controlling the race from the front, or is it a different type of satisfaction?
I think maybe if it happens 50 times, then it's a different story. But I think at the moment, I'm of course very happy when you are in that scenario. For sure, for the fans, it's better when you're really battling. But for me personally, I mean, I also really enjoy a fight. But at the end of the day, it's always nice to win a race.
Coming back here, it's a place where you've had some amazing races. Do you need some rain this weekend to put you in contention for a win again?
Probably, yeah. I mean, looking at last year as well, you know, we just don't really have a chance to fight them. So, well, we'll try our best, and we'll see where we end up.
So to the team that has finished 4th in the Constructors' Championship for the last few seasons, but of course won't be doing this year because of all of that schmozzle around mid-season, when of course administration, new team, new name, all of that, lost their points. You know the story. Anyway, in amongst all of that, and really one of the unresolved issues of this 2018 season is the future of that guy right there, Esteban Ocon. Still no words over who the second driver at Williams will be for 2019, and we understand that he does actually now have a pretty good shot at that seat. Needs a bit of backing, needs a bit of political machinations to all fit in, but it's not out of the realms of possibility. Be that as it may, for now at least, it looks like he's got 2 races left in Formula One to try to salvage something for Force India out of this season. McLaren had been, or has been, their target team for the last few races, certainly. Can they beat them to the end of the season? It would be something absolutely astonishing if they could, and you know that Esteban Ocon will be giving it his all.
Yeah, the target is to, you know, be scoring points with the 2 cars. You know, that's going to be important until the end of the season to get ahead of McLaren. We are 15 points behind, which is a big task, really. But we think it's achievable, and that's what we are going to try to get.
I saw some comments online in the last couple of days about you and Pierre, and we know the relationship's not fantastic there, but a contact between you or some hard racing, certainly in Mexico, that may potentially have cost you a better finishing position. Is that rivalry too much? Does it need to calm down a bit?
No, I don't think it's that fight that cost me the race, really. I have nothing to say about the fight. I think after the start, you know, my race was compromised and over. So, yeah, that didn't change basically the race.
Are these the last 2 races for you for a long time, do you think, now, as these weeks go on? Are you resigned to that?
No, I mean, there is still chance for me to drive next year. Of course, I would like to be sorted, but that's not the case yet, so we'll see. But in any case, as I said, if I'm not driving next year, now I swallow it. That's the worst case. I will be working hard, and I will be, you know, working hard to come back in 20 and come back even stronger than I was this year. Cool.
Do you want to come and do a bit of punditry for F1? Come and work for us on F1 Digital for a couple of races.
Well, yeah, why not? If that's the case, yeah, why not?
Cool. Can you co-host a couple of the Twitter shows with me? Would that be all right?
Sure, no problem.
Right. Shake hands on it. Deal. But obviously, we hope that you won't. We hope that you're driving. Okay. Fine. Deal. Cool. Williams. Will Ocon be driving there next year? Time will tell. For now, though, it's been a horrible year for the team with not really all that many positives. Lance Stroll out of the two drivers, has the one who seemingly has been able to find fewer positives than his teammate Sergei Sorokin, and that hasn't changed on arriving here in Brazil. Just 2 races left for the young Canadian to, one would say, endure, because that is what it is for him now, endurance. It doesn't seem like he is taking much joy out of his, what we believe to be final few races here at Williams before he moves on to Force India and the team at which a group of investors led by his father now obviously rule the roosts. Yes. Any positives, Lance, from 2018? Not really.
Extremely frustrating, challenging season. You can sum it up however you want, but yeah, it's just been survival most of the year. We've had a couple decent weekends, well, good weekends for our package, where we've picked up some points and you know, got the car into Q3 in Monza, and you know, a few times to Q2, beating some of our competitors, not on raw speed, but just on you know, yeah, good management, driving, whatever you want to call it, strategy. But yeah, it's just been kind of a nightmare of a season, you know, with the pace of the car. But it's the nature of the sport. I've digested that, you know, a while ago, and I've always been giving it my all every weekend, and I still do believe that on the positive side, I've matured a lot as a driver. I've, you know, soaked up a lot of experience. Competing for a second season in Formula One, and yeah, hopefully better times ahead.
With difficult races that you've had in the past, here Interlagos, unpredictable weather, does that kind of give you a little bit of hope that you might have a slightly stronger weekend here? Definitely,
yeah. I do hope that it's a bit of rain, something you know, in the clouds to mix things up, but. Yeah, I'm not going to get too excited because we've seen rain, I don't know how many times this year, like 10 minutes after quali or the race, and it's even more frustrating when you have a bit of expectation. So yeah, I'll see it as it comes, but yeah, definitely be nice to have a bit of rain or something that could surprise us, you know.
There was the news this week that Rob Medleys leaving the team. You've obviously had a lot of time working with him. What has he done for this team, and how big a loss is it to Williams?
You know, he's definitely contributed a lot to the team, and he's been with the team since 2014, I believe. So even before my time, and they've had some successful years together. But yeah, unfortunately, this year hasn't been one of them, and you know, I wish him all the best wherever he goes in the future. He's, you know, made a name for himself in Formula One, especially with Felipe, Ferrari. You know, they've achieved a lot of success together. So yeah, you know, I wish him all the best.
In the battle for fourth in the Constructors' Championship, news since the last race. Haas F1 team's appeal against their booting out of the Italian Grand Prix has proved unsuccessful, meaning that Renault now has a 30-point advantage over their American rivals for that fourth place in the Constructors' Championship. It will take quite the set of results for Haas to turn that around in these last remaining 2 races. It's been a brilliant job by Renault over recent races, because as we remember, that kind of mid to 3/4 of the way through the season, Renault really went off the boil. They'd stopped car development, concentrating on 2019, and the team struggled to get it into Q3, get it into the points. But the last 2 races have seen this massive swing back in favour of Renault. What's made the difference? Talk to Carlos Sainz about that as he approaches, as so many drivers here, his last 2 races with the team. Talk us through your starts. The last 2 have been phenomenal.
Yeah, the last 2 and a lot more, but maybe they were not so on TV or not caught by the eye. But yeah, Suzuka was a really good start. Austin was a really good start with a bit of controversy, whatever. And Mexico with no controversy was another good start. But yeah, I'm enjoying them. I have a really good feeling on them, and it's paying off.
What changed over the last couple of races? Because you guys had really dropped off, and without changing much of the car, seemingly, you're suddenly back in it again.
Yes, exactly that. Without changing much in the car, suddenly a couple of circuits that are a bit less power sensitive but that they have a bit more slow-speed corners like Austin and Mexico. Our car all of a sudden comes alive, no? And it's all about the package and how the package adapts to each of the 21 tracks that we go all over the year. We know that our car performs very well at low speed, that our car doesn't perform so well in the straights, and we just need the right combination to put good results together.
So are these next two races, these last two races, going to be difficult for you or slightly better? I'd imagine not great. I mean, you've got slow speed corners in Abu Dhabi, but also the long straights.
Yeah, that's why it's a bit of a question mark for us, because we have a lot of low speed corners going on in the last two races in Brazil and Abu Dhabi, which is our strength. But we also have a lot of long straights in Brazil and Abu Dhabi. So we'll need to see what beats what, no? If the long straights or the low speed corners for the performance. So it's going to be good fun to discover it.
You've also got two races left here before you move on to McLaren. What more can you learn here that you can take to McLaren with you for next season?
Well, to be honest, with Renault, I've been in a constant learning process from race one that I joined the team till now, and I think my season shows it. No, that we've gone from less to more. The good results are coming now, even though unfortunately reliability let me a bit down in Mexico. We're about to finish best of the rest. In Austin, the same. So yeah, I'm feeling like my season is coming alive right at the end, but I'm going to take that energy, that positivity, that motivation to my next team.
One of the other driver seats yet to be decided for next year, of course, is down here at Toro Rosso, with Brendan Hartley hoping to hang on to his place in Formula One. His performances of late have certainly seemed to turn a corner, be that out of necessity or just out of being able to show the latent talent that he's had all this way through. Rumours are that Alex Albon has already been handed that seat. Other rumours, well, certainly not rumours, the public face of the team says that the decision won't be taken until later on in the year. Anyway, here's Brendan. Is it his final two races in Formula One? Time will tell.
2 races to go. How are you feeling after, I think, an encouraging few races, even if the results haven't really shown that?
Yeah, definitely. We've got better and better all season. As a team, myself as a driver, there's obviously been lots of lessons learned over the course of the season, and hardened my approach. And Mexico, we had really good pace. Was a little bit annoyed not to come out of there with points. Even after the first lap, I was put in a bit of an awkward position. Somewhat being a bit down on power into the first couple of corners, and I think one of the Williams moved in front of me in the braking zone, locked the fronts. So then started from scratch, did an early pit stop, but I still came back to a points paying position before the penalty, which I think was a little questionable. But I guess my point is we've now got the newer spec engine for the next couple of races, and the Mexico pace was really encouraging. That the fact that we had the pace to comfortably be in the points if we got everything right, even without the latest spec engine, which is definitely a big performance increase. So yeah, optimistic about the last couple of races. We've got the new aero kit on board on both cars as well, which I definitely prefer. It suits my driving style, and yeah, I think as a team we've got some work to do to get back in front of Sauber.
So it's good news about having the new latest spec Honda engine here, and you mentioned the aero updates as well. Unpredictable weather, kind of what are your expectations specifically here at Interlagos?
Yeah, it's a track I enjoy. Like you say, there's unpredictable weather, which is not a bad thing for us. We've been good in mixed conditions all season. Yeah, we'd like to finish in the points. We'd like to finish ahead of Sauber. Obviously, my focus is on my own performance and not a results-based one, because I'm trying to do the best that I can do with the equipment I have and the team around me. But at the same, from a team's point of view, we obviously want to take a few points back off Sauber and move ahead in the Constructors Championship.
As we said, Haas F1 team had some bad news during the week. Their appeal over their disqualification, Grosjean's disqualification in the Italian Grand Prix, kicked out by the FIA. They do not get their points back, and with 30 points to make up on Renault, there is still some fight left. Don't forget, 2 races left. It isn't impossible that it can happen. I think that's going to be one of the most exciting things to watch for, actually, over these last remaining races. So, arriving here in Brazil, let's talk to Kevin Magnussen. That's a weak one.
We've almost got to the end of the season, 2 races to go. I think it's been a really strong year for you. How do you kind of look back on it, and what are your expectations for the next couple of races?
Yeah, I think it's been a pretty good year. We've had good pace most of the time, and most of the time been fourth quickest, but I haven't always scored the points that we perhaps should have. So, you know, there's some stuff to improve on next year, which I guess also is a positive, that you can go into next year and, you know, aim to do better. And we lost some ground to Renault this year in the fight for fourth in the constructors. So hopefully we can take that fight even harder to do even better next year.
How do you feel about that fight with Renault? We've got a couple of races left. I know it's still mathematically possible, but how are you kind of feeling?
It is mathematically possible, given that you've got 25 points to play for every race. But in the end of the day, that's a tough target for us to achieve. But you know, we're not giving up. As you said, it is theoretically possible. So we've got to give it everything you have. We haven't really got much to lose, so we can just go in and enjoy and do our best.
And down to McLaren now, and to Stoffel van Dorn, who is off to pastures new next year. As we've said, there are a number of drivers who either have 2 races left with their current teams or 2 races left in Formula One. Stoffel won our unicorn of the day at the Mexican Grand Prix after honestly a brilliant race, a brilliant run, making the strategy work for him and displaying once again the talent that he's always had, but just hasn't quite always been able to show because of the equipment at his disposal. 2 races we've got left in Formula One to witness the talent of somebody that I genuinely thought was going to become a world champion one day. Gutted for him. Anyway, how's he feeling arriving here in Brazil?
I think, yeah, definitely the last couple of races have been really good, and I feel like the one in Mexico, probably everyone kind of noticed a little bit more because we scored points, and it was definitely a great feeling to have those points. But the races before, they were actually really good as well. You know, we had some good performances, some good overtakes on tracks. Really good operationally as well to, you know, cut our way through traffic, but they have not been rewarded in the same way without points, and yeah, no one really noticed. So that was a shame, but you know, that's the way it is. So we've got 2 races left now, and hopefully you know, we can put in some strong results again.
You've got some good momentum. I guess it's quite important for you to finish strongly on a high ahead of your exciting project next year.
Yeah, exactly. It's you know, it's nice to close the season like this. I think I know where I'm going. I know I have a completely different challenge ahead of me. So you know, for me, it's to try and enjoy as much as I can the final 2 races with McLaren, Brazil, and Abu Dhabi. But also, we're still fighting for a constructor championship. So we can't back off the pressure. We're, you know, still pushing very hard to finish the season ahead of Force India. The points in Mexico, you know, got us a little bit more comfortable, but it's, you know, it's still not over yet. We gotta, you know, keep performing, keep doing the best. Every point we can score is going to be important for us, and yeah, hopefully we can do that in the next 2 races.
And finally, we come down here to Sauber to speak to another driver that doesn't have long left in Formula One, and that driver is Marcus Ericsson. It was announced after Mexico that he will be off to IndyCar to race for Schmidt-Peterson. I personally am really happy for him. I think he'll really enjoy himself out there. A driver who's always been very underrated in what he's achieved in Formula One. That if you think of some of the drivers that he's seen off in his career here, really a driver that has merited his place here, regardless of what the keyboard warriors on the Tinternet will tell you. So here he is, Marcus Ericsson. 2 races left to leave a positive impression, if he hasn't already done so. And if he hasn't already done so, I think he should have done. Anyway, let's not hear from me, let's hear from him.
You know, Brazil is always a fun weekend, and also Abu Dhabi. It's a track I know very well, so I'm going to enjoy the last 2 races and yeah, obviously try and score points again for me and for the team. It will be important races in the Constructor Championship, so I'm really pumped up for that. So yeah, that's the feeling I go into.
You've obviously had a really strong season, I think, compared to seasons gone by. How does it kind of feel knowing that you've only got a couple more races to kind of be around in Formula One?
Yeah, I mean, that's how it is. I think first when I got the news I will not drive, it was obviously a big disappointment because I wanted to continue, and you know, I feel like I'm very much part of this journey that the team has made over the last few years, you know, and I've worked extremely hard with the team for many years in tough times, so it would have been nice to continue that journey together, especially now when we're so competitive. But now that I have my new chapter for next year sort of set up, and you know, I know what I'm doing, I'm just super excited for that. It's such a big challenge going to America, to IndyCar. Everything will be new for me, but yeah, I can't wait to get started on that. So yeah, it's that's why, you know, I really feel like I'm going to enjoy these last 2 races and do the best I can, and then I have something to look forward to after that.
So that is your lot from pre-race Paddock Pass here in Brazil. As we've said, Drivers' Championship, of course, decided in Mexico, Constructors' Championship, and all those positions beneath it still in play here in Brazil, and maybe even in a couple of weeks' time in Abu Dhabi. Rain has been sprinkling, may fall throughout the rest of the weekend. We hope so. We always get such great races here when it does. Thanks for following along. For now, though, from us here on Paddock Pass, we'll see you later.